Just want to talk about something a little bit different. This is completely different from what I usually talk about on the channel, but this is something I see popping up now and then. It's about microchips. Now, I don't think we're really going to need a tinfoil hat for this because this is actually a real thing, and I've been hearing about it here and there. I think it was last year. A friend of mine was talking about how he saw something about how in Australia people are literally queuing up to have a microchip placed into their hand, and now here apparently is the same thing happening in Sweden. People are queuing up to get a free microchip under the hand, and as the headline of this article says, it's to replace ID cards. Now, that does sound interesting and convenient. I mean, great, you don't have to take any ID with you to the shop if you're going out drinking, or you don't have to take a bank card or anything. It's all there right in your hand. I mean, if it's in your hand, you can't forget it. But if it's in your hand, you can't get rid of it either. Not unless you cut it out. And that, to me, is part of the problem. I mean, yeah, sure, it might be convenient. And you could also argue, well, you've all those features are already on your phone. So what's the difference? It's just even more convenient. Well, at least I can put my phone down. I mean, I'm fully aware. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is the fact that it's constantly going to be tracking you. I mean, you're not going to sit there and tell me that this thing's not going to have a GPS on it, because I'm pretty damn sure it will. I mean, we all know by now that our phones that we use every single day, including obviously the one I'm talking to right now. Yeah, I know it's got a GPS, it's listening to us, but at least we could turn those off. At least we could put those down. I mean, at least if you really want to, you could get rid of your smartphone, or you could just not have one at all. You could turn off the internet, disconnect the Wi-Fi, turn off your data, and just use a dumb phone, as some people call them. You know, a cheap £10 phone that you've got you know. Anyway, with something like this though, it's permanently in your hand. You can't turn it off. It'll be constantly tracking you, and to me, it's just a huge privacy risk. Now, most people don't really seem to be bothered about that. I can't really understand why. I mean, it's one of those things where people say if you've got nothing to worry about, if you've got nothing to hide, you've nothing to worry about. Well, I've got everything to hide. It's called personal privacy. And I don't see how you could have any privacy at all if you've got something like that permanently in your hand. I mean, what else is it doing? Is it doing things you don't know that it's doing? Is it monitoring your heart rate? Is it recording you? Is it sending data to the company that manufactured it? Is it sending data to the government? By the way, if it's not already obvious by now, I'm not really a big fan of the government. I'm not by any means an anarchist or anything like that. I think they're stupid. But I'm really not a fan of government. I'm a small government type guy. I lean more libertarian if you're interested at all. But anyway, back to this. This to me, I mean, how would you turn something like this off? It'll constantly be there tracking you. Now, if you pair this up with something like China's social credit system. Now, honestly, I don't know enough about the Chinese social credit system that's happening at the moment, so I'm not really going to talk about it, but I have sort of been listening to other YouTubers who have been talking about it. Dave Cullen from Computing Forever, for example, he seems fairly clued up on the matter. If you combine the Chinese social credit system, which probably will eventually come to the West, probably will eventually come to Britain, to the United States, to Australia, New Zealand, I find that to be pretty scary, honestly. I mean, to me, it's bad enough knowing that I'm being tracked through my phone, but at least I can turn that down. I mean, at least I can turn it off, put it down. Now, you could just say, well, you just don't get a chip then. That's all well and good, but what about when it eventually becomes mandatory? Or what about when bank cards are no longer a thing? Because banks and government are already thinking about getting rid of actual physical currency like cash and banknotes. They already want to get rid of that. And it seems to me that there's a lot of people in favour of that. Just so you can only use your bank card or your phone to buy something. Then what about when it goes to the chip? Bank cards are no longer a thing. Your hand. I don't know. That just seems sketchy to me. Now, I know there's more I wanted to say on the matter. Sorry if this is a bit sort of rambly and stuttery. I'm just, as usual, I'm making it up as I go along, and I don't really want to make this video twice because this is hard enough as it is. I'm not really that knowledgeable on the subject. By the way, I'm not scrolling up and down to read it because copyright shit and all that. Truth be told, I don't want to read it. I've only read a small portion of it, and I already feel sick just by reading it, because to me this is just a terrifying future. What I was going to say there is, what about when it gets to the point where it becomes mandatory to have it at birth? Newborn baby, a week later, chip in the hand. That's it, nothing you could do about it. Absolutely nothing. The only option you're going to have to opt out is to cut it out of your hand. And then what are we going to do when it gets to the point where there's no physical currency, you can only grab a bank card, the only option is to have the chip in the hand? So that's it. Either be constantly tracked 24/7 by the government and by the corporations that make them, or you're basically no longer part of society. You can no longer buy anything at all. To me, that just seems absolutely terrifying. Just be told that's not a world I want to live in. I mean, like I said, it's bad enough being tracked to the phone and tracked to the internet and on the computer, but like I said, at least you can turn those off. This is permanent. Anyway, I think that's all I really wanted to say on the matter. Obviously, it's a very different topic from what I usually speak about on the channel, and I'll hopefully be back soon to talk about knives as usual. I'm just sort of trying to think of something to talk about in terms of knives and things like that. So I do have some new knives. Hopefully they will be on the channel soon. But if you find this sort of video interesting, let me know, please. And if you want to see anything else like this, also let me know. I'll just leave it at that, so thanks for watching. If you liked it, give me a like. If not, well, go ahead, dislike it, whatever. And feel free to subscribe. See you later.